Hey YouTube, how are we doing tonight? I have the hiccups and I'm trying really hard to make them go away. Today I'm going to be telling the story. Today I'm going to be telling my birth story for Braxton. My plan was to film a birth vlog. Once I get into the story, you're going to see and understand very quickly why that couldn't happen. It's midnight. I've been trying to film this for a month. My camera, I have no idea how long it's gonna last. So we're just gonna get this done and hope for the best. Okay, let's get into it. January 20th, 2021, Braxton was born. My son started off any normal day. Let me start by saying Layla was born at 38 weeks and 9 days, which is before her due date, but it's not really early. Oh my God. I told everybody this baby would be born early and earlier than Layla was. We had our baby shower 4 days before he was born. I knew he was coming, so I set all this stuff up early. I did not know he was gonna come as early as he did. So January 20th, 2021, I had an ultrasound appointment the day before, which I said was my last ultrasound appointment, even though I had one set for the next week. I knew he was coming early, you guys. On the 20th was my OB appointment, which I said was going to be my last OB appointment. I knew he would come within the week. The morning I gave birth, I woke up with a little bit of bleeding and I knew I was in labor. This is what happened with Layla. I lost my mucus plug about 2 weeks before she was born, and the day before she was born, I started bleeding. I had an appointment that day. I went to the appointment. I was 1 centimeter dilated. They sent me home. 4 hours later, I went back to the hospital and I was in active labor. So I knew I was going into labor that day. I had an appointment at 2 p.m. Around 10 a.m. I was very positive that I was going into labor. So I said, let me go to this appointment. It's at 2 p.m. That's less time than I had with Layla. So I was certain I was going to go to this appointment. They were gonna tell me, yeah, you're gonna have a baby tonight or tomorrow, but you have to go home first. The hospital can't admit you yet. So I decided to wait for the appointment. I spent all morning hanging out with Layla. We were playing, we took a bath. We took a bath around 12 p.m. and she usually hangs out in the bath for about an hour. So she was done with her bath around 1. The whole time she was in the bath, I was having very big contractions, but I couldn't time them regularly yet. I couldn't say they were 3 minutes apart because they were like 4 to 5 minutes apart. It wasn't definite. I couldn't tell you that I was ready to go to the hospital. So I still decided to wait for the appointment, and I decided to tell absolutely nobody what I was going through. Tyler was literally asleep because I let him sleep in. He had stayed up the whole night before just because he couldn't sleep, this is what happened with Layla too. He subconsciously knew this was gonna happen, so he couldn't sleep. So she gets out of the bath, it's 1 o'clock. I'm texting April, hey, I have an appointment, but just so you know, this baby's gonna come tonight. He's gonna come later tonight or in the morning. But I'm gonna go to this appointment and see how dilated I am. And she said, okay, let Tyler drive you. You shouldn't be driving. And I was like, you know what, you're right. I don't feel totally comfortable driving. I totally would have drove if she didn't tell me that. So at 1 p.m. I went and woke Tyler up. I said, hey, I gotta go to my appointment. You have to drive me because I think I'm having actual contractions. So the plan I told him was, I need you to drive me to the appointment. They're gonna check me. While I'm at the appointment, you can go get food because he hadn't eaten yet. But I also need you to go to Walgreens and get me a heat pack for my back because I go through back labor. My whatever uterus is backwards or placenta, I don't know. I have back labor really bad. So with Layla, when they sent me home, I put a heat pack on my back, I bounced it on an exercise ball, and 2-3 hours later, I was back in the hospital. So we already had the exercise ball, so I was like, you just need to go get a heat pack because I know I'm going into labor, but I'm pretty sure they're gonna send me home. I just know they will. So I went to the appointment, and I'm sitting in the waiting room waiting for my appointment, and they're getting strong, they're getting big. So I go into my appointment, I tell the nurse what's going on. It's not my doctor, it's the nurse. So I tell her what's going on. I'm like, I'm in active labor, I know I am, but I don't think they're gonna send me to the hospital yet, so I really just need to get checked before we do the actual appointment stuff, and then we can decide what to do from there. And she was like, okay, yeah, sure. So she walks out to go get the doctor. As soon as she walks out, I'm starting to time contractions. I'm like, holy crap, these are like 3 minutes apart. Like, you need to be 2 to 3 minutes apart to go to the hospital, I think. Don't quote me on that. If you can say, yeah, my contractions are lasting a minute long and they're 3 minutes apart, then that means you're in active labor and you should probably go to the hospital. So I hadn't been able to time them yet, but I'm waiting for my doctor, and I'm realizing, I'm like, I can time these in my head. Like, I can tell in my head that they are evenly spaced apart and they are about the same amount of time. And my doctor has never taken that long to get to the appointment, ever. I literally heard her talking outside my door for like a full minute, and I was like, oh my God, I am in labor. I'm definitely able to go to the hospital. I'm definitely past like 3 centimeters. So I thought I was 3 to 4 centimeters and they were gonna send me to the hospital. That's what I was thinking. So she comes in, she starts talking. Hey, you think you're in labor? I'm like, yeah. My contractions are like 2 minutes apart, barely. Like, they are getting closer together really fast. And with Layla, I went to the hospital, got my IV, went to the bathroom, my water broke, I got my epidural, and I had her. So I know that once I'm in active labor, things start to go really fast. So yeah, I'm sitting there and she's talking to me and I'm like, things are starting to go really fast, so we need to get checked and figure out the next step. So she checks me. I'm like, okay, she's gonna tell me I'm 3 centimeters. She may send me home, but I haven't told Tyler what to do yet. I'm waiting to see how far along I am. She comes out from in between my legs and she says, honey, you're 6 centimeters dilated. You need to go to the hospital. And I was like, I'm still sitting here telling the story. 6 centimeters? Are you kidding me? I labored at home alone with a toddler until 6 centimeters dilated. That's a joke. That is a joke. That's hilarious. So I'm like, yeah, my boyfriend's like getting food, so I'm gonna have to call him and tell him to bring the car back. He was 15-20 minutes away waiting on his food. Like, y'all. So I called Tyler and I'm like, hey, we gotta go to the hospital right now, like right now. And as I'm sitting in the waiting room waiting for him to get back with the car, I literally can feel myself dilating. Like, things are moving really fast. Finally gets back in the car. We get in the car and we go to the hospital. We get to the ER. He's like, hey, did you tell mom yet, April? I'm like, no, I told all of my family and I'm in labor, so no, I thought you would do that. So he calls her once we pull up to the ER and she thinks we're joking. She thinks we're pulling a prank. Like, she thinks we're literally trying to prank her by telling her I'm in labor. And I start yelling, April, I would not joke about this. We're going to the hospital right now. We're at the hospital. We're literally in the ER. So we have to go in. It takes us forever to get in because of COVID. Like, you can't go in any entrance but one. So a doctor brings a wheelchair out for me and has Tyler wheel me to labor and delivery, which, if you guys don't know, labor and delivery is a section of the hospital you're supposed to know before you go. We didn't know. My OB wasn't at the hospital, she was at a different doctor. So we had never been to the hospital technically before. So this guy standing at the ER entrance is like, okay, go down this way, take a left, a right, another left, your first left, your second left, go up the elevator, 2nd floor, take a right, and then you're there. I'm in labor. Tyler's girlfriend is in labor, so he's not, you know, processing. We're like, yeah, we'll just wing it. We'll figure it out. Log in between contractions. Eventually, somehow, he gets me to the labor and delivery. There, y'all, I did not think they would make someone. My doctor called the hospital, told them I was coming, said, hey, she is 6 centimeters dilated, she's ready to go, let's go. The only thing I can think is this doctor in this hospital is not where I had Layla, so they do not know how fast my labor goes. So they took their sweet ass time. They checked in a lady, okay? This lady came in with her hospital bag and her baby's diaper bag. She said, hey, I'm about to start labor, so I'm here to get my room. She, you know, took 10 minutes checking her in. Oh my God. We didn't even have the car seat in. That's how prepared we were. Y'all, I was not prepared. I did not know we were gonna have the baby this early. I didn't have a bag packed. I had all the stuff for my bag I had bought a day or two before. I didn't have my bag packed, didn't have Tyler's bag packed, didn't know where Layla was gonna go yet, didn't have the car seat in the car, which is the only thing you need to leave the hospital with a baby. So I'm sitting there behind this lady who is she's probably getting induced, is what was going on. So I'm sitting there in extremely active labor, about to have a baby, about to pop one out. Watching this lady check in, I'm sitting, oh my God, I cannot, y'all, the pain. I can't. Oh my God, I feel like I'm reliving this right now. Okay, she finally gets checked in. The lady starts to check me in, and she's trying to have me sign and write all my information. You know when you go to the doctor, you have to write down your name, your birthday, your social security number. They're trying to get me to do all that, y'all. When I gave birth to Layla, my doctor was in the hospital. My OBGYN was in the hospital. A month before she was born, I had signed the epidural papers. I had checked in. I'd done all the things so that whenever I was in labor, I went to the hospital and I went to the bed, and that was it. So this was very new to us. This is pretty normal, I think. I don't think that they should have let me do that while I was literally giving birth. So I don't know. Finally, I don't know how long it took. They get me back to the room. And that's what's crazy. All this didn't really take long because I was only in the hospital for 3 hours before he was born. So they finally get me in the room. The first thing you have to do when you get in a hospital is you have to get an IV. I've had issues with my veins before, okay? I have really big veins, but for some reason I've had issues with them rolling. If you don't know what that is, look it up. I don't want to explain it. It's very, very painful. Is traumatizing, okay? Just because my veins roll, oh my god. So that's what I was worried about. I tell them not to take my blood in this arm. I say go ahead and try this arm first because this arm tends to roll more than the other, so go ahead and try this one. So that's what she did. She tried and it didn't work. I was like, wow, that hurt a lot. I guess we're gonna have to try again. I was crying, not because of the contractions, but because I knew I told Tyler before we got in there, I said, I hope to God they can get this IV in the first try, and I hope if they don't, then they get a lab tech to do it the second try, because I'm not about to sit there and let them do it 3 times. They did it 5, and I cannot believe I did not sue that hospital. They had a lady come in, the very first lady, did the arm, it didn't work. She tried my hand, it didn't work. When she tried my hand, she put the needle in and then repeatedly tried to get the vein, moving the needle under my skin, trying to find the vein. So I'm bawling at this point. She said, well, I guess we're gonna have to try the other arm, and I'm gonna get someone else in here to try it. I said, good idea, because you don't know what you're doing. I'm a very nice person, you guys. I'm way too nice. I'm way too nice. Just imagine a woman in labor and then take it down like 50%. That was me while these ladies were stabbing me over and over and over and over. Like, I could have gone off. So she brings another lady in to try the other arm. This is the 3rd poke. It doesn't work. She does the same thing. She tries and tries and tries again. Like, if it doesn't get in the vein the first time, take the needle out and get someone who knows how to do it. I'm like, this was the worst experience of my life. So they bring in a 3rd person and they try a 4th time in the hand, and it doesn't work. And the doctors asked probably 4 or 5 times,
oh honey, is it the contractions?
And every time I had to say, no, it's because you're stabbing me over and over and over again, and you can't get this right. This one thing, like, you can't get it right. I'm trying to get an epidural. I'm in labor. I'm like 7 centimeters dilated at this point. The contractions are the least of my the least of my worries. I don't care. I can contract for the next 10 hours with no medicine. I don't care. Stop stabbing me. Tyler's just as mad as me, but he's more willing to express it. So he starts saying, like, y'all, stop asking her questions. Get the IV in. Get someone who knows how to do it right. The 5th try and the 4th doctor, they finally bring in a lab tech. And I know this because it's the lady that did my epidural. It is someone who is trained to put needles into other people's body. They let anybody draw blood. They let any nurse with no training draw blood. If you have issues getting people to draw your blood properly, ask for a lab tech. The lab people are the only people professionally and thoroughly trained on how to do this. So she comes in, she, thank God, puts lidocaine in my arm, put like 3 shots of lidocaine in my hand, and then she put it in. In their defense, this is the only thing I will say. The whole morning, because I was in so much pain and I was taking care of Layla, and I just do this thing where I get in this headspace and I don't take care of myself. So because of that, the whole morning I never had anything to eat or drink. I was extremely dehydrated. That's why my bangs were so impossible to find. And in my defense, they should have brought someone who could do it properly in the first time. The first time that lady couldn't find my vein, they should have brought someone in who could. They should have brought in some numbing medicine. Y'all, it took an hour to get an IV in my arm. That was the worst part. Now let's get to the second worst part. After I got my IV, I'm like 7-8 centimeters dilated now. I'm dying for an epidural, y'all. I'm dying. Finally, they gave me some sort of pain medicine. I don't know what it was. It's something they give you until you can get your epidural. So she decided to give me 1 dose of that. But right before she did, they gave me the COVID test. Yes, they test you for COVID while you are in labor, because I don't know what, but it makes a difference if you get tested while in labor versus after you give birth when the same people are in the room as you. So I got tested for COVID. It was terrible. I was hoping that people were exaggerating over how bad the COVID test hurt. Actually feels like I'm getting a shot in my brain. And if you've never gotten the COVID test, you have to go around, they give you the stick and you have to go around 10 times in each nostril. Each time, it literally feels like a flu shot in your brain 20 times while in labor with no medicine. Y'all, oh my God, I was so done. Oh, I forgot. They never even tested Tyler. Since COVID, I know like they test for COVID while you're in labor before you give birth to your baby. I know it's a thing. I think it's ridiculous, but also they're supposed to test your husband or boyfriend or whoever is gonna be with you. It's supposed to be before he comes in the room, but they're supposed to test them. The entire time we're in the hospital, not once do they test Tyler. Oh my God. You guys, talk about being mad. I tested negative, but while giving birth, every single time the mask went under my nose, you better bet one of those doctors was saying something. One of those doctors was gonna tell me to just pull my mask back up. Someone was like, does your mask just not stay on your nose? I was like, no, you know, I'm in labor. I'm breathing a lot and it's falling down. And yeah, I have to finish my contraction before I pull it back over my nose. So I'm gonna keep wearing my mask, but yeah, you're gonna have to wait an extra 10 seconds for me to pull it back over my nose while I'm contracting. I have never, you guys, this was crazy. And I'm the biggest like mask advocate. I'm like, y'all, like let's just follow the rules until COVID is gone, right? Not while in labor. In a room full of people who are not COVID positive. Every single person in that room was negative for COVID. And they're begging me to keep my mask on my nose while I'm trying to give birth. You guys, I can't. The insanity, the ridiculousness. Hi. I just wanted to update. About to get an epidural, hopefully, and then have this baby. I say less than an hour. Yeah, look at my hand. It hurts. It's a boy. What's his name? Braxton. So I still haven't gotten my epidural. Let's get there. So I've been at the hospital for 2 hours now, I guess. I'm like over here telling Tyler how to vlog. We didn't expect to come in, and we don't have anything. Literally think of anything that you need to bring to the hospital for labor, and we don't have it. So I'm trying to think of anything.
No, we don't have anything. We brought our clothes.
I'm wearing the pants I want to go home in, just because I knew he was gonna come today. But I didn't think I was going straight to the hospital. I just don't have pants. And I wanted to record a contraction while I could still feel them. Here it goes. So now Tyler's getting a phone call.
Have they checked her again?
Not yet. No.
Let me see her.
Yeah, they're not gonna check till after the epidural.
Oh, Maddie, how are you gonna be in labor for a whole day and not know?
I knew, but like, I didn't really. And then I was like, I don't know, maybe I'm crazy, but I was like, I know if he's gonna come tonight, like, or like, I thought he was gonna come later, like Layla. But then, yeah.
I believe you were in labor like that when it, I mean, you went far.
I know.
Far.
I was waiting on the doctor to come check me for the appointment, and I was like, yeah, she's gonna send me to the hospital right now. And then they started getting really strong all of a sudden.
Are they working on your epidural?
Yeah.
Well, y'all keep me updated. Let me know what the next check looks like. Okay.
We'll let you.
Guys.
Okay.
Bye.
And so I started asking the doctor because you can't get the epidural past a certain amount dilated. I think it's 6 centimeters dilated, and after you can't get the epidural. So after I got all that done, she was like, okay, do you want the epidural? And I was like, yes, but I'm pretty sure I'm 8 centimeters. I'm pretty sure like I'm past the point. The only good thing any one of these doctors said or did, she said, well, I'm not gonna check you because if I check you and you are past the epidural point, then I can't give you the epidural. So why don't I give you the epidural and then I check you? And I said, you know what? You are right. Yes, ma'am, let's get it done. So I get the epidural and it was the worst thing I could have possibly done. With Layla, I got the epidural and then 10-20 minutes after she was born is when it kicked in. I got it too late and I didn't feel it until after she was born. So I felt her being born, I felt the stitches, I felt it all. And it wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad. I was so just overjoyed. It wasn't that bad. But I was in so much pain at the moment. I was like, I need this epidural. I need it. This whole experience has been way too much. I need to just be on drugs. Like I need something. So they gave me the epidural. It was a lot more painful than the one with Layla. I don't know why. And then I sit back and I feel it kicking in, but it's only on my right side, which for some reason, having half of your body numb is way worse than feeling all of it. I would rather feel it all or have my whole body numb, obviously. So they told me to lay on my left side so the medicine would, you know, kind of seep down. And I did for a really long time and it just wasn't working. So I said, you know what? I'm gonna click this button. If you've never given birth, never had an epidural, whatever, the epidural stays in your back and you have a button. So you can give yourself more medicine if you want. So I was like, you know what? I think I'm gonna click this button, see if a little more medicine will make it go that way. She was like, yeah, sure. I clicked it, didn't work. I clicked it again. That was a big mistake. That was a big mistake. Right whenever I clicked it the third time, my doctor finally comes in and she's like, all right, I'm here to check you. And I'm like, well, thank God, because this baby about to slip out right now. She checks me and she says, I kid you not, this is not something doctors say. She says, you know what? You may not even have to push. He's pretty much out. At least one good thing, like whatever, I'll take it. So I was like, thank God, because Layla, it took like 6 pushes, maybe. It took less than 20 minutes. I was very worried that whenever I had Braxton, it was gonna be even a little bit worse than that, because even if it was a little worse, like Layla's birth was so easy that I thought his birth was gonna be really hard. No, it was just all the stuff before him being born. Like, I don't understand. So she says that. I can still feel my whole left side, by the way. But she's like, all right, let's get ready to push. So I get ready, and like I said, with Layla, I didn't have the epidural whenever I was pushing. And I know that for sure now, because with him, like, I could barely feel when I was supposed to push. If you've ever given birth, you're supposed to push when the contraction comes. And once it's time to actually push, you know, because those contractions feel like you need to push. I couldn't even feel them on my left side. My left side was just pain, and my right side was completely numb, just gone. So I basically just had to wait for them to tell me when to push. I pushed twice, because the first time I couldn't feel anything on my right side, so I didn't know what was going on. And the second time I pushed, he flew right out.
You need to be the poster child. Wow.
I should teach some classes.
That's what I said. I was like, she definitely should.
He's so bright. You see his chin? Yeah.
How are you?
Good.
Better?
Yes.
You want me to put him inside with you so you can do skin to skin?
I kid you not, the doctor said I should teach a birth class because I'm too good at it. And I was like, you know what? I don't know how to teach people what I do. I don't know how to teach people how to be skinny because it's just genetics. I don't know how to tell people to give birth easily because it just happens. Like, you know? So he came out like that. Hey guys, we had a baby.
We did it. She did it.
Everything happened so quickly.
Looking at daddy.
He's loving him. He is loving you. And it was beautiful and it was easy, except for the whole beginning and these last 2 parts. So he came out, it was great. He came out perfect. Like I said, Layla was born at 38 weeks and 9 days. He was born at 37 weeks and 1 day. So he was significantly earlier than she was. 37 weeks is full term. They don't have to go to the NICU. If they're born before 37 weeks, they do have to go to the NICU no matter what. But that 37th week is whenever they master being able to suck and swallow. He did have a pretty hard time eating whenever he first came out, which was frustrating because I had this huge goal of breastfeeding to at least 6 months. It was a very huge goal of mine. I was very adamant about doing it, but whenever he came out, since he came out just 6 days earlier than he should have, then we had to supplement formula in the hospital because he would latch and then he would fall asleep. So we had to have the nurse help us feed him formula for the whole time we were there. He's a great eater now. We'll get into that. Y'all will meet him. This is the birth story. So anyway, after I gave birth, he came out great, came out perfect. I was so happy, it was awesome. Then you don't know, after you give birth, you get stitches, obviously, which I felt the stitches with Layla, but I'm just getting ahead of myself. And then whenever I started getting my stitches, I realized my epidural finally kicked in on both sides. Like, my left side had finally kicked in, which was really bad, and you will find out why later. The next issue was I had a cyst on my placenta during my pregnancy, which didn't affect him. He was 6 pounds 6 ounces. Really good weight for 37 weeks, really good weight. But I think the cyst caused this. After you give birth, you basically have to give birth again to your placenta and all the afterbirth and all this gross stuff. So with Layla, once the afterbirth part came, it just slid out. I was completely numb. I didn't know what was happening, but my placenta fell apart into a million pieces. No exaggeration. My OB said that. She said your placenta kind of fell apart. Basically what that meant was she was gonna have to push all of it out of my body. So basically just shoving her hand onto my stomach to squeeze it all out of me. TMI, I know. That was more painful than either of my births. That was more pain. I have given birth to 2 babies, and that was the most pain I've ever felt. Like, so after she got done doing that, my epidural kicked in. That's when it all kicked in and everything was numb. I was like, yo, I cannot, even if I tried my hardest, I cannot wiggle my toes. And that's when she did my stitches. I tore 2 times, and apparently this is rare. I didn't know this was rare, but I tore 1 time on each side. So I had 4 stitches total. I'm a month postpartum, they're gone now. I know people are gonna wonder that, but I didn't feel the stitches at all. So like I said a couple minutes ago, I clicked that epidural button twice. So that's 3 doses of epidural. My right side was numb way longer than my left side was. So my left side didn't get numb for about an hour after my right side got it. So after you give birth, you're required to pee a certain amount a couple hours later. And if you don't pee that amount within the time allotted, then you have to get a catheter. I'm not with that. No, not no. So it is a very big deal for me to make sure I pee after birth, okay? But I was completely numb. With Layla, whenever it was time for me to pee, Tyler was able to help me walk to the bathroom. I had my arm around his shoulder and I was, you know, kind of numb, but he was able to help lift me over to the bathroom pretty easily. This time, about 2 hours after I gave birth, the doctor comes in with this chair thing. I don't even know how to describe it, but basically grab one of these handles, pull yourself up and lean over it, and then the doctor walks you to the bathroom and then you can lean off of it and sit onto the toilet. I was too numb to do that. The doctor was like, I don't understand because this contraption is for people who are too numb. And I was like, I can't feel anything. Half an hour to an hour later, she was like, you know what? I think you're actually too tall for this. If I can find a picture, I'll have put it in by now, but I'm too tall to use that apparently. So around the 5-hour mark, the doctor was like, okay, I know you don't want this epidural, so we really gotta try. And I was like, okay. My right side it's tingly, you know, whenever your foot falls asleep, you can feel your foot, but it's tingly. So it was like that. It was really tingly. It felt really weird to walk on, but I could feel it and I could support weight on it. My entire left, like from my torso down, left side completely out of commission. Tyler and that doctor literally had Tyler on my left side because I was like, there's no way I'm putting all of my weight on this 5'4" doctor. So I had both. I was like, all right, y'all, let's get into it. It was the most helpless I have ever felt in my entire life. Had them walk me slowly to the bathroom and I literally was dragging my left leg. And then it took me about 10 minutes, but I peed. And I think that's that. That's my birth story. It could have gone a lot worse. I had a lot of scary thoughts in my mind about this birth. I had a lot of nightmares about it, and there were so many bad things that happened, but I could not have predicted one of those bad things. I was thinking it was gonna hurt to give birth, something would go wrong during birth, like not did I think that every single tiny little step before that was ridiculous. And it's so funny now, but it was not funny then. And I'm trying to think, I think that's literally all. Like that, I was in the hospital for 3 hours before he was born, and that entire 3 hours flew by because so many things were happening in those 3 hours. I could not get a break. It's 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm gonna have to feed Braxton in about an hour. So I'm gonna go lay in bed and rest until then. I love you guys so much. I hope you enjoyed this video. I know it was really crazy and weird and not what you expected for a birth story or birth vlog, but I found the time when I could and I found the motivation when I could. So here we are. Have an awesome night and an awesome day. I love you guys so much. Thank you for everything. All of my socials are in the description. Leave a comment, like this video, and subscribe if you want to see more of this crazy mom of two. I'm gonna watch this outro tomorrow when I'm editing. I'm just gonna be like, I should have just refilmed it right then and there. But whatever, this is hilarious. This is just as hilarious as his birth was. So I'm out. I'm going to sleep. I'm exhausted. I'm delirious. Goodbye.